for spending the next few minutes in learning a little bit more about ASCE and about our Future World Vision initiative. So, before I start my presentation, I'd like to mention that I have some clear goals from this conversation that I have with you. Number one, I want to make sure that those in attendance have a better understanding of ASCE as an organization. So I'm going to spend some time giving you a very quick overview of ASCE and what we are about, but with a purpose. And the purpose is I want to convey to you how you can participate in ASCE activities, how you can contribute to the advancement of our profession, and how it can benefit your own professional careers and growth and initiatives. So I will talk a little bit about that, and then we'll switch gears into the Future World Vision Initiative, which is a new, exciting, provocative initiative has launched. And I want to make sure again from that talk that you walk out today having a good understanding of what the initiative is about, why ASCE started doing it, and how does it benefit you, how participate in the initiative, how can you use it for your own benefit. So these are the overall goals of this talk. So with that, I'm going to share and launch my presentation, and I would request the host to grant me access to sharing my screen.
That should be automatic. You should have pressed it.
I request us to share my screen, please. Currently shows that screen access is disabled. Okay, so hopefully you can see the screen now. I have again, Ms. Muhammad Amir. I'm joining you from the United States, from the ASCE headquarters in Reston, Virginia, about 15 miles west of Washington, D.C. And again, it is my pleasure to be with you here today. What I call this short introduction to ASCE is an elevator speech. And the reason for it being the elevator speech is because ASCE headquarters building has 6 floors, and I want to make sure that I cover one point about ASCE on every SB elevator. So, floor 1, right, introduction. Who are we as an organization, right? So ASCE represents 150,000 members of the civil engineering profession in 177 countries around the world. So this part is very critical because you'll see at the bottom of the screen a geographical distribution, and you'll also see at the bottom of the screen an international distribution. And that shows the range and reach of the professional society. So as you get plugged into ASCE's platform, you have potentially access to network with and reach out to engineers and ASCE members around the world. Floor number 2, how do we define the profession? We have to have this defined right up front, and we define a profession as a profession that plans, designs, constructs, and operates society's economic and social engine, the built environment, while protecting and restoring the natural environment. And that is how we define the profession that we are serving. Floor number 3 are technical activities. So As some of you may know, ASCE has divided itself in its technical activities into 9 separate semi-autonomous institutes with their own identities. And the purpose for that is so we could cater to the needs of individuals within the profession. So before the institutes were created, we would be addressing all of our content to civil engineers in general. And what this has helped us enable is that we can also focus and target on folks who are interested in only transportation, or only structures, or geotechnical and so forth. So as you can see down below, each of these logos of the semi-independent entity represent the Institute of ASCEs. There is Architectural Engineering and Coast, Oceans and Ports and Construction Institute all the way to Transportation and Development Utility. We also have some subgroups or smaller groups or communities that are not institutes. That includes computing and engineering, aerospace engineering, and core regions, and forensics and engineering, and so forth. But largely, our technical activities are handled by these 9 institutes. I have the honor to be representing the Transportation and Development Institute and the Utility Engineering and Surveying Institute. Fourth floor about our technical products. The one area where ASC takes a huge pride is that we are the world's largest publisher of civil engineering content. Again, you will see some numbers at the bottom of the screen. These are pre-COVID numbers, but you will see that we have about 13,000 attendees in our various conferences throughout the year. We also, our online library was searched over 11 million times. And then there are 13,000 attendees for our continuing education courses. So these are our core technical products: conferences, publications, continuing education. And of course, the biggest value that we offer is the ability to network amongst peers and across the world. Fifth floor, ASC government relations, and I was very happy to hear from the speaker before me when he said that when engineers speak, governments listen. ASCE has a huge advocacy practice, and ASC governments has been at it for years to make the case for investment in the nation's infrastructure. Recently, the infrastructure bill was passed in the United States, which was a big success for the infrastructure community, a big success for ASCE. But it has taken a lot of work and many, many years of a lot of our members and volunteer leaders and staff who were involved in this. This group also issues policy statements. Currently, we are working on the policy on artificial intelligence in transportation and infrastructure. We have a policy on connected and autonomous vehicles, and it goes back to all areas of civil engineering. There are a total of 173 policy statements that ASCE has issued. You may also be familiar with the infrastructure report card that ASCE issues. It's essentially based on a GPA system where you grade the infrastructure by type. So you can talk about bridges and railway stations and airports. It was intriguing to see some of the images of airports around the world. And of course, it will be interesting to see how those would rank. But generally speaking, there is a strong need for improvement in infrastructure worldwide. And last but not the least, one of the critical activities that we conduct is out communication. If you look at it on the screen, I don't know if it is to those in the room, but we do have massive global outreach of civil engineers and those interested in civil engineering and the built infrastructure. 145,000 followers on Facebook, more than 267 followers on LinkedIn, 58,000 on X, formerly Twitter. We also have a YouTube channel with more than 33,000 in subscription, and Instagram, which we recently launched and already have about 12,000. So the reason I'm presenting these numbers to you is that engage on social media, when you comment ASCE's activities on social media, what you post and what you enter in those forums is also to fellow members around the world, and I think that's a great platform that you can take advantage of. But communication and outreach takes care of K to 12, pre-college and college outreach, and broader communication to general public. Uh, One of the exciting things that we do, or had started doing back a few years ago, was that in order to convince the world, in order to tell the story about civil engineers, in order to attract young children towards STEM education and civil engineering profession, we launched an IMAX movie called Dream Big. Dream Big was shown around the world in IMAX theaters at museums and science centers. It was also available on Netflix. It is currently available on Vimeo. If any of you have not seen it, I would strongly encourage you to do that. It's a documentary that tells the story and inspires young children to a STEM education. ASCE Foundation started a project where we were able to raise enough funds to send a copy of this movie to every single school in the United States. There were more than 100,000 copies that were distributed. And to access this is now available for free through a link. So I would encourage you to take a look at this. We are currently working on and actually are ready to launch a future world vision based movie, IMAX movie called Cities of the Future, and I'll be talking about it. So this slide I inserted before getting into future world vision because this is a personal experience that I've had with a member, and I wanted to tell you her story so you could sit back and about the opportunities that are offered by ASCE. I do not have anything to say about the membership benefits of ASCE. You can, of course, visit our website and you can go to the membership section and you can look at the various offerings and activities and opportunities, and there is a lot of that, right? But what I wanted to share with you was a personal story of someone I met as a staff person at ASCE. She, at that time, was still with the New York City Transportation. She is a younger member, which in ASCE's definition is 35 years of age or less. And she came to me and expressed an interest in being part of our infrastructure systems committee because that was in the area that she followed at that time. And her application came in, the committee chair accepted her as a member back in 2016. Denise was someone who wasn't just waiting for things to happen to her through ASCE, because as you can imagine, we are a staff of 200 and we have more than 150,000 members, right? So we are always looking for members to show the drive and initiative and use ASCE as a platform and launching to launch their careers and to advance their missions, right? So Denise from the Infrastructure Systems Committee took on leadership role and very quickly became the chair of the committee on the next rotation. From there, she became the chair of the Planning and Development Council of the Transportation and Development Institute of ASCE. That's a body that holds multiple technologies in the planning and development area. From there, she was to the TNDI board as a member of the board, and just a month ago, she was elected as the president of TNDI, which is the Transmission and Development Institute of ASCE. While doing all of that, she also launched a Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Council within TNDI and chairs that. She also became the member of ASCE Board's Strategic Advisory Committee. And while doing all of that, as I mentioned, we were shooting an IMAX movie. She's also became a featured cast member. Once the movie is released, you'll be able to see her, the Cities of the Future IMAX movie. So again, this story, I always take pride in telling this because this is a young engineer who on her own initiative, within a period of 7 years, has gone from, I want to be part of a certain technical committee, to being the president of the board of that institute, advising the ASCE board on strategic initiatives. So I take a lot of inspiration from it, and I do encourage all of you to look into our websites, look into our opportunities. I will also share my email address at the end of this presentation. I'd love to hear from this. If there is any way that you have any